All right, well, the Worldwide guys asked me to do a little presentation for you guys. Anybody here know how many of these I've done in my life? Zero. Yeah, I've shot like 1,000 videos, but I've never done this, so if I have like a nervous breakdown or anything up here, man, I'm sorry. So, all right. So the journey, I decided to do a presentation on a 5 to 10 year tank. And that's kind of because of my own journey here. How many people have had a 10-year tank in the room? All right, so if you see somebody raise their hand, look to them and start asking them questions, man, because those people are the champions. They are living the dream, and they are going to have the best advice for you. Myself, I've had a couple of 5-year tanks, a whole bunch of 2 to 3 year tanks, and to me, the evolution of that is really getting past that. So that's why I wanted to talk about that today. It's a different kind of skill set. I got tons of photos in here. I just want to give a big thanks to the Reef to Reef community and David for letting me use them in there because those guys provide so much information for all of us and so many examples of what success looks like. So big thanks for letting me use the photos in there. All right, so why this topic? I think it's a natural evolution or end path for the successful reefer. You know, you have 2 tanks, you have 3 tanks, or 2-year tanks, 3-year tanks. Sometimes it's because the thing got too big or too small, different reasons that you would change it up. And reefing is really as much about being a pet owner as it about mastering a skill set and conquering a series of challenges. So raise your hand if you like really difficult challenges. Anybody? All right, that's all of you guys, because this is not an easy pet to take care of. You pick the hardest one there is, and that's probably why you're in the room, because it's awesome. So you have a whole series of successful tanks that end in a focused event where the application knowledge kind of produces a different level of process. These are some of the different tanks that I've put up. All of them have been super duper fun for me, but they haven't really been the tank that I wanted to bring to 10 years. And eventually you got to kind of climb Everest, and everybody's Everest is a little bit different. Mine will probably look different than yours. My personal Everest is a system that's kind of the DNA of my household. Something that I can share with the accomplishment of achieving something real difficult with my kids. And I can also teach them what it's like to respect and care for the animals that we care for, because it's really easy to think of this as just a fish, but I take care of my pets, I take care of my cat or my dog the same way I want to take care of the corals and animals, and treat them all with respect. So this is why I'm on a 10-year stable tank that maintains my interests, meets my available time, and respects my pests. We just bought a brand new house. Somebody else built it, walked in later. There's a fish room behind me, super excited about that. All right, and the journey for many reefers are going to be very similar. At one point, you know, building out your dream tank. I got past the 40-gallon breeder that I set up one day, and the evolution kind of like, all right, I'm going to set up a 400-gallon tank in my house. I mean, I'm not going to set this thing up to be up for a year. That'd be silly, because this is going to be obnoxiously expensive to do. All right, so Ryan Live. You've probably all seen me on YouTube at one point, or you wouldn't be in the room. I can't say I share it, I say it a little different live. So I'm real scripted. When I do a video, man, we really try to hone down the information. Live, I just say it how it is. So some of you might not like what I say. I might actually offend a couple of you because I do it differently than you, but I'm just going to tell you how I actually do it. And, you know, sorry in advance, but my intentions are good. And sometimes, man, you just got to poke the bear, right? You know, like everybody here gets riled about some things, and sometimes you just got to poke him, see what's going on. So who's this presentation for? For newer reefers who want to avoid some of the hardest lessons. So some people in this room that probably only had, don't even have a tank yet, or have a 6-month tank. You know what? They can learn from those guys that raised their hand and had a 10-year tank, man. Look to those people and learn something from them. Also, the intermediate reefers that are looking to evolve into the next tank, into something longer term. And even if you only just want a series of 2 to 3 year tanks, hopefully you learn something interesting. But the goal is really something actionable. Walk away. For me, there's nothing worse than sitting through one of these things and saying, oh yeah, I agree, man, but at the end of it, like that was useless. I didn't actually learn anything, and I just agreed with that guy. So I want something actionable. And more than a list of to-dos, I want a core mentality that you can apply to your own tank. If I learn this core mentality, I can apply it to anything I do and achieve the same success as your neighbor. All right, so my name's Ryan Batchelor, for those of you who didn't know. I am a 15-year reefer. Started in 2014 with a 90-gallon wave. In that sense, I'm really not any different than all of you. I'm just a reefer that wants to have success. I want to have an awesome tank in my house. Many of you actually got to watch that progression because it's been documented on YouTube. That's actually my first tank there. So it was a 90-gallon wave, had no sump. It had a bunch of hang-on gear on the back of it, some do-it-yourself power heads, some fluorescent lighting, and I just used baking soda and calcium chloride to supply the calcium alkalinity demands of that tank. And I think it did pretty good for my very first tank. And I wanted to share that with people. So in 2008, I did a video about how to use calcium alkalinity because the store wasn't able to tell me how to do it proper. And when I did learn, I wanted to share the knowledge with everybody. And it looks like 13 people liked it. So I helped 13 people, man, it was worth it. All right, so then later on, Reed and I are drilling tanks out in my yard, man, trying to show people how to drill a tank and create a sump. For those of you who don't know, I live in an air path, so we were stopping constantly. The airline went over. But we built the tank down in the basement, man, and we got to show everybody, I think it was called How to Start a Saltwater Tank series. It was like 13 episodes long. Got to watch that whole thing. And then later on, some of you are probably familiar with the 52 weeks of reefing. We watched a tank evolve over the course of a year. We learned about every basic aspect of reefing that you could possibly learn, I think, at least at the time. And as much as I knew, as much as all the team at BRS knew, shared as much knowledge as we could, the information's still going on. And the tank, I think, turned out pretty good. And you got to see the results of the stuff that we were talking about. And if you follow it, this is what it will produce. We're still in the hunt. Randy, he's right over there, producing all kinds of videos on how to set up your saltwater or your calcium reactor. You know, learning information to make it easier and demystify the stuff. I also own a business called bulkresupply.com that sells dry goods. So in the end, I got my own 15 years of personal experience, tens of thousands of chats, emails, conversations with reefers, and I work with some of the most engaged people. So let's put all that experience to use. And let's find a 5 to 10 year reef tank. And to be honest, I'm really looking for that 10. The 5 has been done. So 1 to 2 year tank. Who here has that? Raise your hand. It's quite a few of you, right? So you're looking for success. A lot of people have had that because it really only takes a little bit of intelligence and effort. And the fact that you're sitting at a reef like a seminar means that you're going to apply effort and intelligence right off the bat. So you got a higher degree of success. Multi-year tank. Some of you are going to do this, you know, and they probably dumped a little bit more money into it, probably dumped a little bit more time into it, dumped a little bit more knowledge, and maybe you also just got a little bit lucky. All right, how many of you have this here? Raise your hand. Ah, one back there. Bravo, dude. I want to come see it. All right, so this tank, man, is just jam-packed full of corals, man. It's got awesome coloration. Also, I mean, they're pruning it perfect. This is like bonsai. So some of you have that. But it has been up for 5 to 10 years. So you have that, and it looks like this, and it's been there for 5 to 10 years. I mean, some of these colonies are 1 foot wide, and actually if I let them go, man, they'd actually be 2 foot wide by that point, right? And so this thing, man, is actually super expensive. This one less so because I can actually fill it up with super huge corals that are a lot more natural and don't take up as many space. It probably has half as many corals in it, even though it's bigger. So this is the goal. So most reefers actually only make it a year. And that's just, like, I pulled this off of surveys and polls and stuff like that. Also industry knowledge, talking to all the players in the industry. Most people only make it a year. However, people like you guys, people are going to reef, you know, nerding out on how to learn about all your aquariums. These people are making it 2 years because you're seeking out knowledge. 1 year is easy. Why did it fail after that? Well, number one reason, probably it's got full of algae. And your spouse told you, get this thing out of my living room. It looks like hell. All right? At least that's what happened in my house. So some pest organism take over the tank. That could be Aptasia, but it also could be zoanthids, man. That's actually the ULM in my office, pretty recent. Zoanthids are going crazy. And common equipment failure nuked the tank. Corals and fish are constantly dying from poor chemistry. Moved, and it wasn't worth setting back up, because you kind of just lost the gumption for it or whatever. And of course, the best reason is the tank to make a year is because you upgraded it. I wanted to have something better, bigger, cooler, right? And I got a bunch of I don't know, is anybody here part of the hashtag BRStv Facebook group? Ah, a bunch of you guys. So I asked all those people, man, why haven't they made it 5 years? And one of them, the first one, is I haven't been in the hobby that long. Well, that is a pretty sad, commentary on our hobby, man. That after all, the number one thing is people haven't made it 5 years. After that, some of them have. But after that, I moved, upgraded to something bigger. Finances, LG, Diano, Sino. Similar beat me, equipment failure or something else. I couldn't afford the proper equipment. I held out for years so I could establish a 5-year tank. My work overwhelmed me, military, I got terrible advice and listened to the wrong people, big tank crash. Those are all reasons. Problem is the reality is we won't hear from most of the people who failed in 1 to 2 years because they're no longer here. They're not in this room. And so all of those things would go up if they were actually here telling you why they didn't make it. BRS community, couldn't believe this. This is a little survey if you buy something from us. 60% of the people have been around for 5 years plus, man. 60%, 5-year tank. Nearly 1 in 10 has 5 tanks. Raise your hand, you got 5 tanks. Couple. Wow, and that's crazy, isn't it? 1 in 10 of these people, man, have 5 tanks in their house, and 6 in 10 has 2, man. More than half has 2 tanks in their lives. People are engaged, but they're also diversified. One goes down, they're still happy, but they still have a good tank. All right, this is all of you, or will be. You guys are going to be 5-year tank owners, you're 10-year tank, 5+ tank owners, and you're also going to have 5 tanks because you're all knowledge seekers. Everybody in this room is sitting here still listening to me, man, is definitely seeking knowledge and how to succeed. All right, BRS community team tends to be knowledge seekers. They watch 700,000 to 1 million educational videos a month. It's probably triple that because they're not just watching me, you guys are watching other people as well. That's 25,000 of these videos every single day that are consumed. And the desire to acquire and access knowledge is really the biggest hurdle with anything difficult. And corals in reef tanks are the most difficult mainstream pets out there. You guys are attempting the most difficult pet that is a mainstream you could possibly do, and you're doing it on purpose because you like difficult stuff. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it at all. So in transparency, have I made it to 5 years with the transparency? Have I made it to 5 years with the tank? Yes, absolutely. Have I made it to 10 years with the tank? Nope, absolutely not. However, you get to work from my network of failures. I fail, I try again, I fail, I try again, and you guys get to watch it. Not just the successes, but also the failures. You get to see what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And there's some tanks that you just get tired of. I got tired of the bubble tip and enemy tank. It was just kind of the same old thing for after years. I took it down. That was one of the reasons. But I'm going to find the 10-year tank. And so this is why I picked this topic, is it's time. I'm going to do this in my house. I'm going to build a 10-year tank. And I'm going to think about all the things that are important and is required to achieve that goal. And you guys are going to get to follow along again, hopefully for 10 years. I don't know if you can be around. So really below the list of how it failed, we need to understand the underlying why it failed. We're destined to kind of play that game of whack-a-mole, hitting that never-ending change of predictable challenges. If we can train our mind to understand why certain elements are important, and we can produce information or vision that applies to almost everyone, and they can change that to their own needs. So why do people really fail? And it's because you're listening to the wrong person or you're listening to no one. And constantly changing things, always tinkering, trying to make it better, but you're really making it worse. Not matching your tank to your maintenance desires or lifestyle. You have no plan for pests, assuming things will never break. Unrealistic budget. And the last one is mentality of good enough. Mentality of good enough really doesn't make it 10 years. So we'll just kind of go through those one by one. Listen to the wrong person or no one. And I'm just going to say, man, stop listening to everyone and start asking someone. Go on the forum and you ask, man, what should I do? What's my favorite skimmer or whatever? You're asking 4,000 people. You have no idea which one of those people you should be listening to. So find somebody, man, that shares your values, shares your budget, shares different things that you might like, and start listening to a single person that has produced results and you can see it. Ask an online question, generates those thousands, and every level benefits from a mentor. So I look out, I see Jeremy right here. I call him up all the time. Ask him for different things, man, his thoughts and opinions, and some of them, man, he's a better expert on many of those things. I have a slew of those people, but you guys also need a mentor. You gotta pick some people, man, that are worth listening to, that have had the same experience and produce the results that you're looking for, and say, I wanna do it that way, rather than this collage of 4,000 ways. So find somebody who shares your specific desires, mentality, and has achieved the results you want. If they haven't achieved the results, Find somebody else as a mentor because that person's your peer. They're doing it along with you. Find somebody who's actually done it before. Preferably not me or other hard to access people. I'm here all day. You can talk to me. I go live every Monday. I also go on #BRStv, but there's 10,000 people trying to access me. I'm not a good mentor. I can answer questions and stuff. I can provide knowledge, but I'm not probably the best person. Fish store, forum user, Facebook group, local member, and a local club member. Tag them. They're there because they like helping. The people that are there want you to tag them. They want to take the information that they've got from other people and share it with you. It's a community of reciprocity, and so utilize that, and they get to feel really good about the fact that you care and have positioned them as a thought leader. So one of these things, my favorite quote of all time, I don't know, is Greg Carroll in the room? There he is. So be wary of advice from those who will not show you the fruits of their success. I couldn't agree more. There is one thing, man, I couldn't agree more with anything, is you want to be able to see this person has actually produced the results they're talking about. If they're giving all kinds of advice and then they show you their tank and it isn't what you want to achieve or what you call quality, stop listening to that person. If they won't show it to you, then you probably should look for somebody else. Worse yet, if they don't even have a tank or had a tank in 5 years, find somebody who does. So make sure that you're listening to that. Second, I'm going to quote myself here, as much as geeky as that is. Be wary of advice from those who will not show you their failures. It takes a tremendous amount of humility to be able to say, I did it wrong, and you should learn from my failures so you don't have to achieve it. I can tell you, we did that. It was really hard, man. We killed $10,000 worth of fish about a month ago from a power outage, man. That was not a video I wanted to do. But also, I knew that there were some people in that crowd that would watch that thing and they'd go out and buy the battery backup and save their own fish. So it was a responsible thing to do. And remember that those who fail are also rarely around to tell you. So those people that are giving you all kinds of advice, if they're gone in 3 years, you know, if their advice is really wishy-washy, remember, man, they're not going to be here when they fail. They're going to quietly go off into nowhere. So one of the ways you can do this is Reef to Reef actually has this really cool thing. There's a guy down there that has 5,000 messages, and he's got 30,000 likes of those messages. That means the community is voting and saying, this person has valuable stuff to say and has helped me. And they're also saying, you know what, this person treats other people with respect. Regardless of where you are in the skill hobby, this guy right here is going to help you. If somebody's got 30,000 posts and 200 likes, that means that guy's advice probably sucks. So if you're one of those people, I'm really sorry. But, you know, or maybe they're just offensive, I don't know. But this is definitely a metric. And when you're on the forum, man, and you're reading advice, if you see one of these guys up there or one of the other ones that have these awesome ratios of posts to likes, man, they're probably worth listening to. At least it's an indication, man, that this is the right person. Okay, so this is what you should walk away with. Pick a person or group of people who shares your values and trust, willing to show you their successes, more importantly, willing to show you their failures, and the knowledge they transfer to you will be the #1 resource for achieving that long-term tank and cutting the cost of this in half by avoiding all the costs of failure and poor equipment choices. Anybody here had a failure? How expensive was it? Yeah, ridiculous, right? So if any of these people can help you avoid that failure, it will cut the cost of this whole thing in half. So bravo. All right, so #2, constantly changing things. Your desire is to make it better, but you're actually making it worse, right? I put the 160 up here for a reason. This is like a test tank for you guys, so we can test different methods and show you the different things. But I can tell you, every single time that we change something, we go from Zeovit to Triton, we change the refugium, we dig out the sand, we do anything, 6 months setback. 6 months, the tank goes bad. We lose some corals. Things are really, really like dicey, man. For 6 months, every single time we do it. But we do it not because I would do that with my home tank. I do it because you guys want to see what happens if you run this thing for a couple years. Will it produce the results that you're looking for? So for you guys, pick a path and stick on it, man, because the desire to constantly change it is making it worse. So to walk away with this one is find that balance between the fact that this is a hobby and the other fact that you're responsible for the animal's welfare here. The problem with the tank isn't that I want more gear on it. The problem needs to be that the water's polluted, the fish are dying, the corals aren't getting what they need. I can solve that. I shouldn't solve my desire for ozone. I should just move right past that. So plan methodically, do your research, make sure you're solving a real problem. And if you make a change, stick with it for a year. Good things happen really slowly in a reef tank. And when you do make changes, expect negative results. So when I took out the sand out of the 160, really bad results. I don't know what happened. The instability caused the aptasia and the bryopsis just to explode. It was bad results. That doesn't mean that I pour in sand now to replace it, because that'll make even worse results. I'm going to have to stick out the decisions I made, plan methodically, and do my best to bring it home. All right, so matching a tank to your lifestyle. This is important. You may think you want big and complex, but do you? This is a 900-gallon tank. It's 12 feet long. It's 4 feet deep. It's 31 inches tall. It's filled with coral. Looks super awesome. I'd like this in my house, but I don't want to take care of it. It's too much. So you're going to be doing this for 10 years. And I certainly hope you're thinking about it, because that tank probably costs 15 to 30 grand to put in your house. You don't put 15 to 30 grand in your house, man, unless you're going to actually take care of the damn thing for a pretty long period of time, man. I'm pot committed. I'm going to do this. All right. So what does water changes look for a system on this big? I'm going to do water changes on this thing, man, for 10 years. Hey, I'm going to be cleaning glass and filter media and socks on this tank, man, for 10 years. I'm going to clean the bottom, change the sand and rock, man, for 10 years. I'm going to clean out the sump. This is a big tank. This poor guy's got to crawl underneath it, man. That's terrible. I don't want to do that. So the walk away on this thing is, if your lifestyle doesn't support the kind of investment that you're going to have, time investment you're going to have to make, your tank isn't actually going to look like this, man. It's going to look like that, right? It's just going to be a matter of time before you get there if you get a tank bigger than you actually have time to maintain. So pick a dream tank that matches your dream time investment as well. And I can tell you right now that what I really want in my house is a 10-foot long L that goes another 8 feet that way. But I also have a 9-month-old daughter and a 3-year-old son, and I cannot have that, even though I want it. I have to build something that's going to match my time level so that I can actually take care of it, and it doesn't look like this guy. All right. So next one, no plan for pests. Who here has torn down a tank because it got overfed with pests? Anybody? Oh, that's fewer than I thought. Well, there's half hands there. So an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? Tank's filled with aptasia, man. Some of you may beat that, many of you will not, and you'll just give up, right? But an ounce of prevention is priceless when there is no cure. A lot of these pests, man, you will not beat them. You only can get it out and not put it in the tank to begin with, right? So you got little red bugs, acquirating flatworms, nudibranchs, whatever, all those things that are in there. Most of you will not actually beat them. Some of the smartest people, most diligent people will beat them in the end, but a lot of people will let it overrun the tank, or you'll end up just managing it for as long as you can. So if you see aptasia or any kind of undesirable algae, don't buy that coral from that system. You will regret it. All of you are going to ignore me on that one, guaranteed. You're going to see that coral and say, I want it. I'll just do something about that aptasia. And then the thing's going to overrun your tank. And then eventually you're going to shut it down. And you know what you're going to do next time? Is you're going to ignore me probably again, because I've done it too. So the best advice I can give you, though, man, is don't ignore me. Like, you don't need that coral that bad to risk your whole system, and find a different place to get it. If you can, the walkaway here is buy corals that are propagated direct from the source without ever seeing a wholesale holding system. I can tell you this, as a person behind the scenes industry, I order a lot of what you see, what you get corals from the wholesalers out there, and the ones that get from wild caught. And we play a game called Spot the Aptasia, Spot the Bubble Algae. And it's in every damn photo, right? All of those systems had that, and it's not because they're bad people. It's because it's impossible to keep that out. When I got tens of thousands of corals going through this system, nobody could ever create a system that is going to not have that in it. However, if I go to somewhere like ORA or maybe the WWC propagating tanks, there's pure propagation. It is now not in their best interest or to protect me, which I would hope they would do, but it's their best interest to protect themselves. If they get pests in those systems, their lifestyle is wiped out. Like, it's in their best interest to make sure that there's no nudibranchs and flatworms and all those things in those systems, and likely, due to the amount of food that's in there, the tank would be wiped out if there was. So it's not guaranteed, but you probably reduced it with the worst ones, 80%, with the best ones, 99%, that you won't get pests if you order direct from the source that actually grows this stuff. Another one, skip the fish mills. Find somebody that properly cares for the animals and can provide you healthy pets. Most of you wouldn't buy a dog or a cat from a puppy mill, and I can guarantee there isn't a single person here that would buy a dog or a cat from a puppy mill where all the other puppies were sick. Not one of you. You would never ever do that. So I personally use this guy, Marine Collectors. I hope none of you do because you're going to take up all his time and resources from me. But he is super awesome. The guy goes out there, collects the fish that I want, sends me little videos of how healthy they are, then treats and medicates them. Costs about twice as much. But you know what? I'm not buying at a puppy mill or a fish mill, man. I'm getting a healthy pet that is also going to protect the pets that I have in the tank already. This is actually economically in my best interest. So to spend the extra money to have something healthy. All right, if you don't want to do that, you could have a quarantine system in your own house. Looks kind of geeky, but you know what? It's kind of fun. It's part of the extension of the hobby. Learn something new. So they got tank transfer methods, but it actually doesn't even have to be that hard, man. It could be a little tank with a PVC fitting in it. And luckily, Elliot over at Marine Collectors is going to come over to Bulk Resupply, and we're going to shoot a video on how to properly quarantine it, because the biggest mystery is who do you listen to and how to do this. This guy does it well. He's going to teach you, and it ain't hard. All right. Same thing with your corals. Here's a good excuse to have another tank. You know, set up a little tank, doesn't have to be super fancy. Just put it in there, watch it grow for a few months. Doesn't got bubble algae aptation and all that other stuff on it. Move it on over. And if it does, well, that tank's contaminated, but it ain't your main tank. So bravo, you avoided that problem. All right, so the number 5, assumption that things will never break. Who here's had a piece of equipment break on their tank? I mean, that gotta be everybody. So here's the thing, man. Every single piece of equipment on that tank is gonna break in 10 years. Even the apex. Every single thing in there is gonna break for sure. Some of it's gonna break once. Some of it's gonna break twice. And everything, definitely including those heaters, man, are gonna break 3 times. These things don't last forever. In fact, if you can see in the background, man, there's a toaster. That thing's gonna break in 10 years. Man, electronics, especially stuff that's on saltwater, is gonna break, and you have to plan for it. Everything breaks. It's not if, but when. What will happen if this piece of equipment fails? Protein skimmer fails. Off? I don't care. You know, my tank's gonna be just fine without a protein skimmer for a pretty prolonged period of time. If some of my kid dumps some soap in there or whatever and spraying suds all over the place, and then it gets into the outlets, I got a fire hazard now. That's bad. I wanna stop that. If I got a return pump that fails, water could leak out of it. Or I stop the heart of my tank. I stop the connection between all the filtration and life support between my tank and the sump, and it's failed. Can't have that. Heaters, thing fails off. Well, probably not a problem. You can probably go without heater for a pretty long time, and I'm talking weeks. Fails like that, though, you got a fire hazard. If it fails on, you probably got a matter of hours before everything's dead. Power outage. Everybody's gonna run into a power outage sometime, and that means the whole thing's dead. Doesn't mean actually your whole system's dead, man. It means your whole house is dead. That means that like the air conditioning's out. That means that your heat is out. That means everything that even supports the room that supports the tank is out. So you gotta manage that. And so how long will it take to notice is the other thing. How long will it take me to understand that I need to do something about this? Some of this stuff is pretty fast. Flood my floor, man, I'll probably find out that reasonably fast. Heat, man, if it's off and I don't have something like a controller or something on it, man, it could be weeks. I don't know how many of you like crawl underneath your stand, try to figure out what the temp is, you know, but I don't, you know. And so a lot of people could go a pretty long time. Hot, you'll know right away, man, because it's dead. If not, but when? These are the kinds of things that a new reefer or someone in the 1 to 2 year range considers, rarely considers, because solving all that stuff, man, is expensive. Man, putting in redundancy, putting in notifications, putting in better equipment, not using the cheapest stuff, man, is super expensive. It's really hard to commit like any real resources to a brand new hobby like that, but you're wrong. Because the mentality is almost guaranteed to only take you so far. And most long-term reefers in this room will tell you that, openly share that a tank crash is actually the most expensive, longest, and painful path to that success. All those corals in there, it's probably thousands of dollars that are now dead. you know? Not only that, but you're probably done, man. You probably lost interest in this. You probably said, I tap out, man. I don't want to go through that again. It's a pretty devastating event. You'll probably be back in 3 years. But you know what? It's really, really hard to take that, man. So if you can put a little effort into it, learn from the lessons around you. You don't have to do all of them. You don't have to do all the most expensive ones, man, but start thinking about the things on your system that could fail. What happens if it does, and how can I get around it? So the walkaway on this one is the 15-cent thermostat in your heater is total trash. It's garbage, man. And if you don't back this up with a temp controller of some type, you will absolutely fail someday. I don't use absolutes a whole lot. This one, I will tell you for sure, if you don't back up your heater, your tank is done. It's just a matter of time. So if you're designing new, dual return pumps are best. You know, I don't know. Actually, Terrence, you're the one that told me about this. I don't know why it didn't dawn on me a long time ago. But I got one heart going to my system, man. It's connecting all my life support to the tank. Why not have two of them? One fails, the other one's still going. Good news, 2 small pumps cost the same as 1 big pump in almost every case, especially with AC pumps. So it doesn't even have to cost you more. So if you're designing the thing, then make sure you're thinking about redundancy from the beginning. Get some type of battery backup for your power heads today. I told you, and I mean like today, when you leave here, not tomorrow. I told you that we didn't put that battery backup on the XXL 750. Killed probably $10,000 in fish. I killed pets, man, that were relying on me to care for them. And I just did it because I didn't get the battery backup on time. You know why? Because I thought I had time. I thought, man, what's the chances I'm gonna run out of power, man? We've never run out of power here. There's people here all the time. Man, you know what? It failed on the like one day, man, when nobody's there, right? Come back and everything's dead. Didn't take long. Took 10 hours, man. And it was super sad. And you know what? Also the Apex. Didn't tell me. I got 30, probably 40 Apexes in there. All of them turned on. The heartbeat thing functions is going to tell me when power outages happen. And it wasn't a system-wide power outage. It was just a GFCI tripped. You know, just the outlet tripped. Went off. I lost all those animals. And the one thing about it is there's a little button in the back. 29 of them, I had turned it on for the Apex. This one, we didn't. And I can't tell you a good reason as to why, and I'm really sad that we missed it. Find an affordable notification method for when things do fail. So affordable means a lot of different things to you. Affordable means this to you, bravo, man, because this is awesome. I want this in my house too. So you got an Apex there. You know what? I got backlit. I got tablets that are dedicated just to this thing. You know, I probably got thousands of dollars in this, but it can be as little as $500 just for the Apex EL. If you can do it, do it. Awesome, man. This is going to tell you when your phone, it's going to tell you text messages, it can set off audible alarms in your house. It can tell you when something's wrong. I won't go super far into it, but it can also fix it for you in real time rather than waiting for you to come there. But not everybody can do that. So you can plug in something simpler. You know, $200 goes into your computer, plug it in. Now I can get real-time notifications of something as simple as the ammonia is spiking, the pH is spiking, the water level has spiked, or the tank temperature, and actually that's most of it. The rest of it outside of that is really starting to get obscure, right? So for $200 I can get that. All right, don't got $200? You know what you do got? You got $5 for a sticker for a temperature gauge on the front of your glass. It's not the most accurate thing in the world, but at least now when I walk up to the tank, I can just see, hey, this thing is not the right temperature, and I can do something about it. And it's not about accuracy, it's about a warning system. The Watchdog water alarm, that thing's at Home Depot, man, it's $10. It will tell you, and like a fire alarm loud, water is spilling out, the skimmer's going crazy, your external pump cracked, or who knows what. The water's going out. Tune's water level controller will do the same thing. The temperature, pH, ORP, or not really ORP, but temperature and heater controllers will do that. There's even an RO one there, man. Like in 10 years, the seals on your RO may go, or you may take the hose out for whatever goofy reason, put it in, not put it in well, floods all over your house. All right, so the next one's a realistic budget, real similar to that. This hobby is expensive. Does anybody feel like it's cheap? Nope. All right. That's because we're creating an artificial environment, and if it fails, everything dies. This guy right here, man, his natural environment is a bench with a piece of paper around some trees, all right? That's his environment. Put him out into space, man. We don't got any oxygen for him. I don't have any heat for him. I don't have any food for him. I don't have any water for him unless I give it to him. That guy is going to die out in space, man, if I don't take care of him. Same thing with the corals, man. The coral's natural environment's the ocean, not a Manhattan condo. Right outside that window, you'd actually see the Freedom Towers. That is the weirdest place ever to see a coral and a fish, man. It's way outside of its environment. So if at any point, man, like I lose the lighting, I lose any element of the life support system that I'm trying to take care of this thing, man, it dies. And that's why it's expensive. Sending people into space is expensive. I want to make sure the guy comes back alive. All right, worse yet, I'm not sending somebody a space trip, man, for a week. I'm trying to do this for 5 to 10 years. That means that nothing on this system can fail for 5 to 10 years, or this fish or coral that lives in Manhattan, man, is dead. So that is why it's expensive. But it doesn't have to mean break your bank. It kind of means about balance. Finding tank size versus livestock versus life support. How do I find these things in balance? The highest percentage long-term success is when these things are in balance. Larger tanks are more stable, provide more time when things go long. So a lot of you like larger tanks because of those things. You also like them because you can put more stuff in it. But larger tanks require exponentially more livestock to be filled and also look nice. Large tanks also require more money in lighting, sumps, pumps, rocks, sand, salt, and additives. So rather than shooting for the biggest tank possible, let's think about the tank that you could do right? If I only got a budget of $2,000 for this tank, or whatever your budget may be, you can think about it like, oh, I really want a 120-gallon tank that I'm going to do poorly and fail at. Or I can put $200,000 into my 60-gallon tank, and I'm probably making that number up, whatever the number might be for you. But I can put it into a 60-gallon tank and be successful. So think about the size of tank that you're going to actually be happy with long-term because it's thriving and awesome, not because I got the biggest today and I failed later. And I'll just tell you my favorite size tanks for the average person all revolves around being 2 feet deep and 2 feet tall. So that's a 60-gallon cube. 120-gallon tank is probably one of the more common ones, and a 180-gallon tank, which just makes it 6 feet. So those some of the most popular. And so the walkaway again here is rather than shooting for the biggest tank possible, think about what the biggest tank that I can actually do right. All right, mentality of good enough. This is one where I actually piss off a lot of people. So, good enough kind of means like, hey, my way's working. Hey, I've done this thing for 3 years and it's successful. How dare you tell me that it's not right? And the reality is it is successful for you, man. But what I really want to get to is the highest percentage path to success. So somebody asks you what you're doing. They're not asking really what you're doing. They're asking you for help to help recreate their desired goals for the tank. And so instead of thinking about your choices and the stuff that you've done for yourself, think about that person just for a moment and what it is they're actually trying to achieve, and give them the best, highest percentage path that meets their budget and whatnot to achieve that. So outside of luck, exceptional results do not come from a good enough attitude. The least productive mentality is corals and fish just die. Happens to everyone. I hear that all the time. It's terrible, terrible advice. It gives you an excuse to believe what you're doing was okay when it wasn't. In reality, there will be losses, but almost all of them are preventable. Those animals didn't just up and die, man. The puppy in your house didn't just up and die. It's like, puppies die. No, man, if their puppy was dying every 3 months, man, that is bad, bad news. You should not own puppies, right? If you're killing a coral every 3 months, it's easy to feel like, oh, I don't know, this is just hard, and it's just kind of the way it is. You're wrong. There are things you could have done to prevent it. Maybe they're outside of your budget or skill level, but you can control the skill level for sure and budget to some degree. The mentality the animals just die is also, again, just a way to feel good, okay about good enough. So, make sure that we're really thinking about the animals and not ourselves. And yes, corals, I've had corals die. In fact, I think I probably had more corals die on my watch than many of you combined. But the goal is always as few as possible, and I absolutely work towards it and try to be the most responsible pet owner that I can. This guy right here, man, this is a 1-year tank I took off of Reef to Reef. Think this guy has a mentality of good enough? Because I don't. I think this guy has a mentality of trying to achieve the best tank he possibly can and care for the animals that are in there. And so you need to decide if you want the highest percentage path to results. The answer is good enough. The answer to good enough is really good enough, really lies within that. I may want cheap and easy, but I don't want that if it's a really low percentage path to success. And so think about what you're putting on a tank on a daily basis, because it doesn't kill everything when I dosed it once, ain't good enough. If I dump it in there once and the fish don't jump out and scream for help and the corals don't slough all their tissue, it doesn't mean that what you're doing was good. It just means you didn't pour Drano in the tank, right? And so some of the things you're gonna do are gonna build up over 5 to 10 years of exposure to that thing. You know, arsenic doesn't kill you today, man, it kills you over time. So I've been in this long enough to know that good enough or it didn't kill anything mentality absolutely does produce results. But almost everyone will also admit, not all the time, and it is a lower percentage path to success. There's also a reason why there's proportionally fewer of those long-term reefers that maintain that mentality. And so the statement is really, if of exceptional results do not come from a good enough attitude, really applies to everything that you do in your life. There are not many things you do in your life you say good enough is going to produce exceptional. It may produce okay. And so the question is really whether or not if you're after or if your goal is exceptional. And so that's kind of the end of the presentation here. I can tell you right now that my goal is exceptional. I'm trying to build probably a 300 to 400 gallon tank in my house, and I'm doing it as my dream tank. I want a 10-year tank, and I want exceptional. I do not want to fail, mostly because you guys are going to watch. So I'm absolutely going to share that. So I'll take any questions that anybody has on trying to achieve a 10-year tank in their house. And if any of those people that have achieved a 10-year tank want to chime in, man, I absolutely would love to hear that. Randy and I are also in the Reef to Reef booth. If you want to ask us any questions, stop by. In the morning, we've been stamping things like crazy. So I don't know. Hopefully some of you stop by and win.